Mainstreaming Satanism and Luciferianism. Dear Ascending Family, most of us can feel morality and culture being eroded at an increasing pace, but very few people recognize that this is by design. Until we can see the intentional distortions being offered up as the norm and identify the hidden motivations to herd an unaware humanity into consent with dark forces, we do not have free choice. Two of the main factions responsible for this are being given a makeover to be sold to the public as something they are not. These are complex forces, mixing two energies that were organic to the earth realm, but that have been hijacked and amplified by invading off-planet groups. These groups are exerting a tremendous influence over humanity at this time, and being able to read their signatures and decode their agendas means being better able to maintain personal integrity and freedom of choice for all of humanity in the ascension cycle. The mainstreaming of Satanism and the mainstreaming of Luciferianism are the current dominant cultures that are being methodically and secretly constructed through an array of social engineering experiments. These are being perpetrated through an increasing multitude of electromagnetic and chemical weapons, targeting the unaware Earth population, with the goal of mass mind control. Most people are still not able to discern the aggressive agendas hidden in plain sight that directly promote the death culture. These agendas are based upon manipulating satanic and Luciferian doctrines and ideologies, and their proponents continue to deceive the public through pushing for mainstream acceptance while denying accountability for the destructive harm caused by their actions. These controller groups desire to make the more extreme satanic and Luciferian ideologies and their related behaviors and rituals fully mainstreamed and socially integrated. Thus, the agenda is to mainstream these practices so that they will become legally protected when their various harmful activities are openly disclosed or observed in full view of the public. This month's newsletter is intended to demystify, educate, and eliminate the many veils of confusion and the gaslighting tactics that are used by the main supporters of these dark ideologies. This is to help remove the knee-jerk avoidance and the mainstream taboo that prevents openly discussing the definition of the practices that are classified as Satanism or Luciferianism. This is a very complex subject where layers upon layers of deceptions, lies, and cover stories are put in place to confuse the masses about the real source and intention behind these practices. There are many different schools of thought on the path towards achieving self-realization and greater enlightenment. There are discussions and debates on what are often referred to as the right hand and left hand path, and whether taboo types of activities can be used for spiritual benefit. However, what this newsletter attempts to define is the larger global agendas of the most powerful satanic and Luciferian practitioners, those in the power elite that have alien handlers that use these practices to directly contact the negative aliens themselves and conjure sorcery against the masses. When attempting to describe Satanism or Luciferianism, the descriptors used are generally portrayed inaccurately to the public as delusions or fabrications of the unstable and superstitious mind, made up of purely religious constructs to control the masses through fear. That discussions about Satanism and Luciferianism are limited to conspiracy theorists, or whispered behind the closed doors of members of the clergy, exorcists, and secret societies. This is by design. Many people are taught to believe that these spiritual forces, rituals, and the doctrines behind them do not exist, that these forces are purely imaginary and do not have an influence in the world or on those minds that are properly educated in the hard sciences. This is absolutely inaccurate. More people need to be able to identify and recognize Satanism and Luciferianism in action when its ideology is being represented through the use of mainstream symbols and in practices that are shaping the cultural and societal norms, because it is being used as a type of black magic sorcery to directly infect minds, greatly impacting how the masses think and perceive their reality. When we finally recognize and know what it is, its darker existence can be found everywhere by opening our eyes to see the current state of chaos, mental fragmentation, and traumatized pain in people that are running the world around us. Because when people do not recognize these forces, even when they are looking them in the face, they are easily manipulated by them to easily give up their consent and authority. Classic dark Satanists and Luciferians glorify themselves through the ultimate heights of narcissism and lust for power, using knowledge to feel superior and to take unfair advantage over others. Thus, they endorse the master-slave relationship, and they believe it is their natural right to be the dark master of humanity because they consider themselves smarter, stronger, and genetically superior. Denying the dark agenda's ancient ideology. The point is to comprehend that Satanism and Luciferianism are ancient ideologies based in total secrecy, black magic, sorcery, and the continual cover-up and denial of their existence to outsiders. Many of these mixed ideologies are promoted as atheistic, when this is entirely inaccurate, as they are connected directly to specific gestalts of energy intelligence. These are consciousness lifestyles and sometimes religious practices that have remained deeply buried behind the mysteriously hidden shadows of the esoteric occult, which has grown its tentacles of influence way beyond any current world religion, intellectual reasoning, or spiritual philosophy. It is a dark, predatorial consciousness with a doctrine that has infiltrated and infected every single aspect of secular society, generating an inverted society designed to reverse the principles of life into principles of death. Satanic and Luciferian death symbolism, black magic, sorcery, and their destructive beliefs are being thrust into our subconscious mind every day through the onslaught of commercial entertainment, advertising, and consumer branding of the death culture. These assaults against human consciousness are meticulously pre-planned through the intentional social engineering experiments decided upon by the many academic think tanks and international committees that are founded by the power elite and run at the highest levels by the negative alien agenda puppet masters. The most powerful cult of insiders, such as those involved with the power elite, misrepresent themselves and lie to the unaware public, who are being tricked every day to believe that mainstream Satanism or Luciferianism is an ideology that has genuinely benign, noble, and humanitarian intentions under the guise of the marketing promotions of a gentler, kinder, and more charitable Satan or Lucifer to the unaware masses. He is a friendly, sensual God that just wants to give you the knowledge you deserve so you can manipulate and lie to get the things you want on the material plane. Other forms of this propaganda use the atheistic mind control to target the subconscious, that none of this actually exists, and life is meaningless anyway, so you better stick it to others and get yours while you can. Unfortunately, these are grave inaccuracies filled with complex deceptions and lies that are being spread as the survival of a high-powered practicing Satanist and Luciferian that relies on ritual blood sacrifice of humans is fully dependent on the propaganda machines and gaslighting tactics for controlling the perception of the population. They are fully dependent on controlling the public perception in order to promote social acceptance of their lifestyle choices, being classified as harmless, hanging out with the intellectuals, atheists, and scientists. Thus, they are pushing for mainstream acceptance of their practices into the population via political manipulation of highly charged, controversial issues. In order to distract, they hide behind the most liberal people who are unaware of their global agenda, people who morally believe all human rights should be protected. Even those committing harm to the people provide great cover for dark forces. Without an understanding of the actual consequences of the hidden forces behind these actions, they have no idea who they are inadvertently protecting. Does our civilized society want to protect the rights of the mentally ill and spiritually sick, to be lying propagandists, free to use technological mind control to create world slavery, to protect having sex with children, and to use human blood sacrifice and negative alien rituals to help maintain their power and control in materialism? Thus, these topics must be openly and intelligently discussed with reasonable, flexible, and coherent minds in order to understand where the primary ideologies and their belief systems originate, and why these groups operate in total secrecy and lies, seeking to have full spectrum domination, power, and global control.